This morning, we start with the latest on President Trump's moves to deploy the National Guard to Portland. National Guard troops have mobilized, we know, to Camp Withicum, a military facility in Happy Valley, but deployment is on hold after two rulings from a judge this past weekend. Now the question is whether or not the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals will flip that decision or let the judge's ruling stand. Yesterday, President Trump said he would consider getting around the court rulings by using the country's Insurrection Act, which would grant him emergency powers to deploy troops. While that's happening in D.C., officials here in Portland are accusing federal officers of using excessive force on some of the people protesting outside the city's ICE facility. The crowd at the ICE facility last night was noticeably larger than it has been on a weeknight recently, with roughly 150 protesters and counter-protesters gathering outside the building. Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz is at the facility right now. So Thomas, how much of that crowd from last night is still there this morning?
Yeah, well, Drew, a lot of it's dispersed. Driving by, we saw maybe a dozen, maybe 24 protesters max. But right now, right outside the ICE facility, it's really quiet. Those protesters are over by a little campsite they have set up just down the street, but no protests going on right now. Last night, our crews did see two people be detained. Federal agents actually came out of the ICE facility detaining one of those people. It's unclear why that happened. Portland police also made an arrest last night, arresting a Tennessee man around 5:15. They say that man is connected to a harassment incident that happened on Sunday. This comes after a federal judge ruled over the weekend the Trump administration could not deploy Oregon's National Guard to Portland, or the National Guard of any state for that matter, drawing anger from the White House.
You look at what's happened with Portland over the years, it's a burning hellhole, and then you have a judge that lost her way.
President Trump has pushed to send troops to the ICE facility in South Portland, where he claims protesters have waged an insurrection. Though over the summer, protests here have been relatively small. Since June, the U.S. Attorney's Office says 30 people have been charged with federal crimes at the facility. And Oregon state leaders like Attorney General Dan Rayfield say the judge's ruling draws a line in the sand.
There's a reason that we don't accept having the military on our streets. It's un-American. It's not what the framers of our Constitution intended. That's something you'd expect to see in a third world country, and we'll fight to maintain that sense of normalcy.
And look, once again, last night was some of the largest protests we've seen out here outside the ICE facility. But once again, this morning, it is very quiet. Of course, that's something we'll continue to monitor throughout the morning.